In my first life, I was a ghostwriter for my own legacy. I poured my heart into lyrics and melodies, only to watch my best friend, Jake Morrison, claim them as his own. He was the charismatic face. I was the silent, trusting fool in the background. My rival wasn't some industry enemy I'd never met. He shared my pizza, knew my secrets, and stole my future right from under my nose. I died on a Tuesday, not in a literal sense, but in a way that felt far more final. I died the moment I heard my soul, my song, coming from his lips on the radio, realizing he had erased me from my own story. The screen of my phone is a glaring, impossible truth. It's 7:14 a.m., and my song, my unreleased demo, Midnight Confessions, sits at hash 1 on Spotify's viral 50 chart. The artist credited is Jake Morrison. 2.3 million streams, overnight. The numbers swim in front of my eyes, blurring into a smear of nauseating green and black. My own song, my chord progression, my lyrics scribbled on a napkin at 3 a.m. after a brutal breakup, my voice memo humming the bridge, all of it now belonging to him. A bitter, metallic taste floods my mouth, the unmistakable flavor of betrayal. It's sharp and coppery, like I've bitten my own tongue. My tiny apartment, usually a sanctuary of worn-out guitars and notebooks filled with ink-blotted dreams, suddenly feels like a cage. The thin walls seem to be closing in, suffocating me with the silence of my own stolen scream. Then I hear it. Blasting from the open door of the hipster coffee shop across the street, a place I can't even afford to patronize, the opening riff of Midnight Confessions. It's my signature, a finger-plucked melody that took me a month to perfect, a sound so intimately mine I could identify it in a hurricane. But it's not my rough, unpolished demo, it's been produced. Polished to a high-gloss shine, with a driving drum beat and synth undertones that make it sound expensive. Made for radio, made for stadiums, made for the contract I was supposed to sign. My hands start to shake, a violent tremor that makes holding my phone impossible. I drop it onto the threadbare rug. It doesn't matter. The buzzing is incessant, a furious vibration against the floorboards. I don't need to see the screen to know what it is. My world has been buzzing for the last hour, 47 missed calls, over 200 text messages, every single one a variation of the same soul-crushing theme. OMG Maya, have you heard Jake's new track? It's fire. Dude, isn't this that song you were working on? Crazy coincidence. How do you feel about Jake's overnight success? You guys were so close. Close? We were closer than brothers. We'd started in his parents' garage, two kids with cheap guitars and a shared dream. I was the writer, the shy, introspective one who found solace in composition. He was the performer, the one with the easy smile and the natural stage presence who could charm a room with a single glance. We were a perfect team, or so I thought. He was my partner, my confidant. Now he's just a thief, a very, very successful thief. My eyes drift to the calendar tacked to my wall. Today's date is circled in the thick red marker. Underneath it, 2 words, Apex Records, 3 p.m. The meeting I've been chasing for 3 solid years. The culmination of every empty venue I've played, every ramen noodle dinner, every sleepless night spent wrestling with a lyric. Victor Reeves, the legendary executive at Apex, had finally listened to my demos. He'd called me personally last week, his voice a gravelly promise of everything I'd ever wanted. The kid's got talent, he'd said to my now manager Zoe. Let's see if she's got the nerve. Now I know why the offer came. Victor didn't hear my demo, he heard Jake's. Jake must have played it for him, passed it off as his own masterpiece. And now, at 3 p.m. today, he's walking into that glass tower on Sunset Boulevard to sign the contract that was meant for me. He's not just stealing my song, he's stealing my life, my future, my name. The coffee shop across the street turns the music up. The chorus hits, a soaring, anthemic cry of heartbreak and resilience. My heartbreak, my resilience. A wave of nausea rolls through me, hot and acidic. I stumble to the bathroom, my reflection in the cracked mirror, a pale, hollowed-out stranger. The clock on my phone, now lying face up on the floor, reads 7:28 a.m. I have less than 8 hours to reclaim a life that was stolen while I slept. The metallic taste in my mouth sharpens. It's not just betrayal, it's the taste of war. The initial shock, that paralyzing wave of cold fire, recedes. It leaves behind a residue of pure, unadulterated rage. It's a clean burn, a clarifying force that stops the shaking in my hands and steadies my breath. Panic is a luxury, despair is a dead end. Action is the only way out. I snatch my phone off the floor, my fingers fly across the screen, my movements precise and methodical. Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, Amazon, every single platform, every single chart, I screenshot everything. My stolen song, Midnight Confessions, emblazoned with Jake Morrison's smirking face. The climbing stream counts. The glowing reviews praising his raw, prodigious talent and vulnerable songwriting. Each tap of the screen is a hammer blow, forging my anger into ammunition. I save everything to a secure cloud folder I label evidence. It feels flimsy, pathetic, but it's a start. It's something to hold on to. My next move is instinctive. I find the number for Apex Records. I bypass the general line, the automated menus, the polite but useless receptionists. I dial the direct line for Victor Reeves's office, a number Zoe had guarded like a state secret. His assistant answers, her voice smooth and practiced, a human firewall. Victor Reeves's office. I need to speak with him. My name is Maya. Mr. Reeves is in back-to-back meetings until his 3 o'clock. Can I take a message? No, you can't take a message, I say, my voice low and tight, leaving no room for argument. You can put me through. It's regarding the Jake Morrison signing. There's a beat of silence. I can hear the subtle shift in her professional armor. I've used the right keywords. I'm not just a fan or a wannabe, I'm a problem. A crisp click, a moment of hold music that sounds like a neutered rock anthem, and then his voice fills the line. It's exactly as I remember, gravelly, impatient, and dripping with the kind of authority that buys and sells dreams for a living. Reeves. Mr. Reeves, my name is Maya Cruz. You've got 10 seconds, talk. I take a deep breath. The song Jake Morrison is signing with you today, Midnight Confessions. It's mine. A dry, humorless laugh crackles down the line. It's the sound of a man who has heard every sob story, every accusation, every desperate plea the music industry has to offer. Is that so? Let me guess. You hummed it in the shower once and he must have overheard? You wrote it on a napkin and he stole it? I've heard it all, kid. I have proof. I have the original recordings, the demo tapes, the session files. Sure you do, he scoffs. Listen, sweetheart, let me give you a free piece of advice. Lawyers cost more than dreams. Unless you've got a notarized copyright registration with a timestamp that predates his, you've got nothing but a good story, and good stories don't pay the bills. Now I've got a real artist to prepare for. Have a nice life. The line goes dead. The dial tone buzzes in my ear, a mocking insult. Notarized copyright registration. The words echo in my head. Of course, the one thing I'd always put off. Zoe had bugged me about it for months. It's just $100, Maya. It's insurance. And I'd always said next week or after I finish this next track. I trusted Jake. I never thought I'd need insurance against my own best friend. A cold dread washes over me. What if Jake was smarter than me? Smarter and infinitely more cruel. My fingers tremble as I navigate to the U.S. Copyright Office online database. I type in Midnight Confessions. My heart plummets into my stomach. There it is, registered. Claimant Jake Morrison. Date of creation 6 months ago. It's a lie, a blatant, provable lie. I was still writing the bridge 6 months ago, but he's created a paper trail. I dig deeper, my blood running cold. The copyright wasn't filed under his name directly. It was filed through a shell company, GarageBand Glory, LLC. My stomach clenches. That was our joke name. The name we came up with for our fantasy record label when we were 16, sitting in his parents' garage. He'd used our shared past, our private joke, as a weapon against me. He'd registered the company months ago planning this. This wasn't a moment of weakness or a sudden temptation. This was a premeditated heist. I slam my laptop shut, the plastic cracking under the force. He's thought of everything. He's built a fortress of lies around my work, and Victor Reeves is standing at the gate ready to welcome him in. I glance at the clock in the corner of my laptop screen. 11:47 a.m. 4 hours and 13 minutes. 4 hours until Jake walks out of that building with my song, my album, my entire future tucked into his pocket. 4 hours to tear down a fortress that took him months to build. The rage returns, hotter this time, burning away the fear. He may have the paperwork, but I have the truth. And right now, the truth feels like a goddamn battering ram. I grab my keys and my jacket. If Victor Reeves won't listen to me on the phone, I'll make him listen in person. And first, I'm going to pay a visit to the traitor himself. The elevator ride up to Jake's loft is a silent, suspended moment of fury. The polished chrome doors reflect a distorted version of me, a woman with clenched fists and eyes that burn. He lives in one of those new, sterile glass towers downtown, the kind that advertises a lifestyle, not an apartment. A lifestyle bought and paid for by my art. The irony is so thick it's almost suffocating. I don't bother knocking. I know the code. It's the anniversary of the first song we ever wrote together. The sheer, calculated cruelty of it sends another jolt of white-hot anger through me. The lock clicks open, and I step inside. The loft is exactly as you'd expect. Minimalist, expensive, and soulless. Floor-to-ceiling windows offer a panoramic view of the city, a view he doesn't deserve. But I barely notice the decor. My eyes are locked on the scene in the center of the sprawling living room. It's Jake, and he's rehearsing, not alone, but with a full production crew. A slick, camera-ready woman with a clipboard and headset is directing 2 cameramen. A sound guy adjusts a boom mic, and Jake, standing in the middle of it all, is wearing a ridiculously expensive-looking designer jacket, holding a guitar that isn't his, and singing the second verse of Midnight Confessions. My lyrics? My pain. He's practicing for his big debut. The music grinds to a halt the moment they see me. A collective, awkward silence descends upon the room. Jake turns, and for a fleeting second, a flicker of genuine shock crosses his face. It's quickly replaced by that practiced, easy smirk, but I saw it. I'm a grenade he didn't expect to be tossed into his perfectly curated party. Maya, he says, his voice a smooth, confident performance. He sets the guitar down as if it's a prop. To what do I owe the pleasure, come to congratulate me? The crew looks back and forth between us, their eyes wide with the promise of drama. The woman with the clipboard whispers into her headset. I came for my song, Jake, I say, my voice dangerously quiet. He walks towards me, adjusting the lapels of his jacket. He smells of expensive cologne and deceit. Our song, you mean? We always worked on stuff together, you know that. You were always better with the words, I was better with the big picture. The big picture? You call grand larceny the big picture? He lets out a low chuckle, shaking his head as if I'm a hysterical child. Maya, babe, you always said I had better connections. I just gave our music the platform it deserved. A platform you could never get for it. Those connections won't save you when the truth comes out. What truth? He says, his voice dropping, a new hardness in his eyes. He's closer now, invading my space, trying to intimidate me. The truth is a piece of paper in a government database. The truth is a signed contract with the biggest label in the city. It's your word against mine, and I've got the paperwork. Who do you think they're going to believe? The overnight star or his bitter, jealous ex-friend? It's in that moment, in the cold, dismissive way he says it, that the real horror lands. He doesn't just think he'll get away with it, he knows he will. He's planned for this. He's anticipated my every move. And then he does something that freezes the blood in my veins. He turns to the production crew, who are trying their best to look invisible, and says, "All right, let's take it from the top of the bridge, the new arrangement." He strums a chord on the guitar and starts to sing, but it's not from Midnight Confessions. It's from Faded Photograph, a song no one has ever heard. A song I finished writing last week. A song that exists only on a hard drive in my apartment. I stare at him, my mind reeling. The air conditioning hums, a sterile, monotonous sound against the sudden roaring silence in my ears. He's not just singing the lyrics, He's singing them with a new harmony, a slight melodic change we had discussed, but I hadn't even recorded yet. He'd been recording me all this time. Our songwriting sessions, our jam sessions, the casual moments in my apartment where I'd play him something new. He was capturing it all, secretly, systematically. This isn't just about Midnight Confessions. He hasn't just stolen one song, he's stolen everything. My entire unreleased album, my life's work. I look at his face, at the smug confidence, and I see the full scope of his betrayal. It's a vast, dark ocean, and I'm just now realizing how deep it goes. He wasn't just my friend, he was a spy, a corporate saboteur who targeted my heart. His assistant, a young man with a tablet and nervous eyes, scurries over to Jake and whispers something. I catch only a few words. Damage control protocols, legal is on standby. They have protocols for this. Protocols for me. I'm not just an angry friend. I'm a liability to be managed, a problem to be neutralized. The cold, sterile air of the loft suddenly feels frigid. Jake's smirk is no longer just arrogant. It's predatory. He didn't just outplay me. He's been playing an entirely different game from the start, and I was the only one who didn't know the rules. He turns back to me, his eyes devoid of any warmth, any history, any friendship. You should go, Maya, he says, his voice final. You're trespassing. I back away slowly, my mind a vortex of shock and horror. He's right. I have no power here. In this room, with his crew and his contract and his stolen catalog of my soul, I am nothing. But as I turn and walk towards the door, a new, harder resolve begins to form in the pit of my stomach. He's built his fortress on my ground using my materials. He thinks it's impenetrable. He's about to find out it has a flaw. A single, forgotten, analog flaw. And I'm going to use it to burn his entire empire to the ground. I'm driving. I don't remember grabbing my keys, or the walk to my beat-up car, or navigating the downtown traffic. My mind is a frantic blur of Jake's smug face and the sound of my own unreleased music coming from his mouth. He has everything, every lyric, every riff, every piece of my heart I thought was safe. The digital files, the GarageBand sessions on my laptop. He must have copied them. He was my best friend. He had my passwords. The thought makes me physically ill. He didn't just break into my life's work. I handed him the key. My hands grip the steering wheel, knuckles white. Despair is a thick, oily sludge trying to fill my lungs. It's what he wants. It's what Victor Reeves expects. For me to crumble, to become the bitter, forgotten footnote in Jake Morrison's success story. I can almost hear them laughing. I pull over to the side of a residential street, the engine idling roughly. I need to think. Paperwork, digital files. He has all of it. He's created a digital ghost of my work and slapped his name on it. But ghosts aren't real. They're copies, imperfect, and digital is new. My process is old. And then it hits me. A memory emerging from the fog of panic like a lighthouse beam. It's not a memory of a song, but of a smell. The specific, musty scent of my grandmother's basement. Damp concrete, old cardboard boxes, and something else. Ozone. The faint electric smell of old electronics. The 4-track. My grandmother's vintage Tascam Porta-Studio. A relic from the 80s she'd given me when I was 15. It was the first recording device I ever owned. Before the laptop, before GarageBand, before everything, I learned to write songs by layering cassette tapes on that machine. It was cumbersome and archaic, but it was magic. And I never got rid of it. It's been sitting in a box in her basement for years. But that's not the important part. The important part is how I used it. I was obsessed with documenting my process. Every time I had a new idea, a spark of a melody or a hook, I'd lay it down on the 4-track first. A raw, unedited snapshot of creation. I recorded everything. Early, terrible versions of songs that never went anywhere. And early, foundational versions of every single song that was on my stolen album, including Midnight Confessions, The Machine. It had an internal clock, a simple digital clock for its primitive display, but it was tied to the machine's core function. Every time a tape was formatted, Every time a recording was initiated, the machine's internal hardware logged the action. It wasn't metadata you could edit. It wasn't a file you could fake. It was a physical, unchangeable electronic timestamp burned into the machine's guts. Dating back 2 years, a laugh bubbles up in my chest. It's a wild, slightly unhinged sound. Jake, with his slick LLCs and backdated digital copyrights, had been thorough. But he's a product of the digital age. He thinks in terms of files that can be copied, dates that can be changed. He'd forgotten about the analog world. He'd forgotten about the dusty, obsolete machine where it all began. A scene flashes in my mind, as vivid and clear as the view through my windshield. It's a flash forward, a glimpse of the future I am about to build. I see a courtroom, sterile and intimidating. Victor Reeves is on the witness stand, his face a mask of fury and humiliation as a lawyer plays a tinny-sounding cassette tape. It's my voice, young and raw, singing the first ever draft of Midnight Confessions. The date displayed on a large screen for the jury to see is 2 years old. Jake is sitting at the defendant's table, his face ashen, his multi-thousand-dollar jacket looking like a cheap costume. His golden boy status, his carefully constructed career, all of it exposed as a fraud on what will inevitably be national television. He's not just a thief, he's a punchline, and I'm the one who wrote the joke. The vision fades, but the feeling remains. Hope. Not just hope, but certainty. The despair is gone, burned away by a cold, righteous fire. This is no longer just about getting my song back. This is about total annihilation. I pull my phone out, my fingers steady now. I scroll past the hundreds of messages and find Zoe's name. My manager. My friend. The one person who has been in the trenches with me from the start. She picks up on the first ring, her voice frantic. Maya, oh my God, where are you? I've been trying to call you. I've been trying to call Apex. Victor Reeves is a brick wall, his assistant is a dragon, and Jake's team is putting out statements about his lifelong passion for songwriting. It's a nightmare. I cut her off, my voice calm and clear, a general taking command of her army. Zoe, cancel my pity party. What? Maya, it's okay to be falling apart right now. We can sue, we can fight, but... No, I say, a slow smile spreading across my face. We're not gonna fight, we're not gonna sue. That's playing their game, we're going to win. We're going nuclear. What are you talking about? What's the plan? I put the car in gear and pull away from the curb, heading towards my grandmother's house. Towards the past. Towards the weapon he never knew existed. The plan, Zoe, I say, the hum of the engine a low growl of promise, is that I'm about to become his worst fucking nightmare. The basement is just as I remembered, cool, damp, and smelling of history. The Tascam 4-track is right where I left it, nestled in a cardboard box labeled Old Music Stuff. It's heavier than I recall, a solid block of beige plastic and metal sliders. It feels real, substantial, an artifact of truth in a world of digital lies. Beside it, a shoebox filled with dozens of cassette tapes, each with my messy scrawl on the label. Ideas, Spring 23, verse-chorus sketches, Og 22, and my heart leaps when I see it, Midnight C, first take Jan 23. I don't waste time. I set up my phone on a stack of old books, hit record to document everything, and begin the process. I plug in the 4-track and its small LCD screen flickers to life, displaying the date and time. It's correct. It's always been correct. I feed in the first tape, the one labeled Midnight C, and the machine whirs. I find the right track and press play. And there it is. My voice, younger, rougher, but unmistakably me, singing the melody of Midnight Confessions over a single, hesitant acoustic guitar. It's raw, it's imperfect, and it's the most beautiful sound I have ever heard because it's undeniable proof. An hour later, I'm back in my apartment, the 4-track and the shoebox of tapes sitting on my coffee table like a holy relic. I've converted the crucial audio to digital files, careful to film the entire process, showing the tape, the machine's timestamp, the audio playing. I package it all into a single explosive post. A video showing the original cassette, the 4-track playing the demo, and a side-by-side comparison with Jake's polished, stolen version. The caption is simple and direct. This is the original time-stamped recording of Midnight Confessions, created on my Tascam 4-track in January 2023. Jake Morrison is a phenomenal performer, but he is not a songwriter. He is a thief. Give Maya her song back. I tag every major music journalist I can think of, every industry blogger, every AA&R rep I have a contact for, and of course, Apex Records and Victor Reeves. Then I hit post. For a moment, there's silence. Then my phone explodes. Not with texts from confused friends, but with notifications. Retweets, shares, comments from blue-checked accounts. It's a spark hitting a trail of gasoline. The story is too good, the evidence too compelling. A David and Goliath narrative for the digital age. The hashtag starts trending within minutes. And then, my phone rings. The caller ID flashes a name I never wanted to see again. Jake Morrison. I let it ring 3 times before I answer, putting it on speaker so Zoe, who is now sitting on my couch looking at my social media feed with a grin of pure vicious joy, can hear. What the hell are you doing? Jake's voice is no longer smooth or confident. It's a high-pitched, panicked squawk. I believe the legal term is presenting evidence, I say, my voice as cold and calm as a frozen lake. You're trying to ruin me. Take it down, Maya. You're destroying both of our careers. My career was already destroyed the moment you decided my name wasn't worth mentioning. I shoot back. The satisfaction is a warm, spreading wave. This is just me picking up the pieces. You don't understand, he yells, his voice cracking with desperation. Victor will bury us both if this deal falls through. He'll sue me into oblivion. He'll blacklist you for being a problem. Everybody loses. Then you should have thought of that before you stole my song, I say, my voice flat, unmoved. There's a sob on the other end of the line, a wet, pathetic sound. I didn't have a choice. You don't get it. I owed them, Maya. I owed the label. I frown. Zoe looks up from her phone, her eyes sharp. What are you talking about, Jake? Owed them for what? My first deal. The one I signed before we reconnected. The one that went nowhere. They gave me a huge advance. I spent it. The album flopped. I owed Victor $300,000. He was going to sue me, ruin me for good. He told me if I didn't deliver him a guaranteed hit, he'd end me. The final piece of the puzzle clicks into place. It's devastating. This wasn't just about greed or a desire for fame. This was about survival. He was cornered, desperate, and in debt to a shark. So he found a life raft. And that life raft was me. It doesn't excuse what he did. It doesn't make the betrayal any less painful, but it adds a new, pathetic layer to his crime. He didn't do it from a position of power. He did it from a place of fear. He sacrificed me to save himself. He needed a hit, Maya, Jake babbles, his voice thick with tears. And Midnight Confessions. I knew it was a hit the first time you played it for me. I'm sorry. I was desperate. Before I can respond, before I can even process the wave of pity and disgust warring inside me, my other line beeps. I glance at the screen. It's Victor Reeves's office. I have to go, Jake, I say, a chilling finality in my tone. Maya, wait, please. I hang up on his plea. I take a breath, centering myself, and switch to the incoming call. It's the assistant again, but her voice has lost its frosty superiority. Now, she sounds stressed. Maya, Mr. Reeves needs to see you. Now. He's moved the meeting up. Can you be here by 1 o'clock? I look at the clock. It's 12:30. I'm on my way, I say. Zoe stands up, her eyes blazing. This is it, the showdown. He doesn't want answers, I say, grabbing my jacket and the tote bag containing the 4-track and the box of tapes. He wants to control the narrative before the story breaks wide. He wants to shut me up. What are you going to do? Zoe asks, walking with me to the door. A slow, dangerous smile touches my lips. Oh, I'm going to let him think he can. The Apex Records conference room is a fishbowl of power. Perched high above the city, its glass walls offer a stunning, panoramic view of Los Angeles, a glittering sprawl of dreams and asphalt. Inside, the air is thick with tension and the smell of expensive leather. Victor Reeves sits at the head of a long, polished mahogany table, his face a thundercloud. He's flanked by a severe-looking woman in a tailored suit, his lawyer. On the other side of the table, Jake sits slumped in his chair, looking small and broken. His designer jacket is rumpled, his face pale and blotchy. His own lawyer, a slick man with a forced tan, whispers urgently into his ear. And then there's me, with Zoe by my side. I place my canvas tote bag on the table with a soft, definitive thud. I feel strangely calm, a stillness in the eye of the hurricane I've created. Victor wastes no time on pleasantries. He gestures to a tablet in the middle of the table, its screen glowing with my social media post. "Somebody explain this to me," he growls, his voice a low rumble of suppressed fury. "Before I cancel everything and sue everyone in this room for damages." Jake's lawyer clears his throat, assuming the smooth, practiced tone of his profession. "Mr. Reeves, this is a clear case of a disgruntled former collaborator. My client, Mr. Morrison, has been developing these songs for months. Miss Cruz is attempting to sabotage his career out of personal and professional jealousy." Jake, emboldened by his lawyer's words, straightens up a bit. He finds a sliver of his old arrogance. "She's lying," he says, his voice reedy. "She's trying to sabotage me because I rejected her romantically. She's obsessed." It's such a pathetic, cliche-ridden lie that I almost laugh. Instead, I reach into my tote bag and pull out the Tascam 4-track. I place it on the polished table, its beige plastic and worn sliders a stark analog contrast to the room's sleek modernity. Then, I place the shoebox of cassettes beside it. "Check the metadata, Victor," I say, my voice ringing with clarity in the silent room. "Every timestamp on these tapes, every original session file, predates his fraudulent copyright by over a year. This machine doesn't lie, it can't be hacked, it can't be faked." Victor's eyes narrow, shifting from me to the machine, then to Jake. He's a predator who smells blood in the water, and he's no longer sure who's the prey. Jake's lawyer leans in again, his whisper more frantic this time. I can just make out the words. "My client may have been misinformed about the ownership status of the compositions." Victor slams his hand on the table, making everyone jump. "Misinformed or lying?" he roars, his gaze locking onto Jake. "Because right now, my $60 million quarter is hanging on the answer to that question." Jake flinches, withering under the executive's glare. He looks at me, his eyes pleading. It's a desperate last-ditch appeal to the friendship he so thoroughly annihilated. I feel nothing. No pity, no remorse. Just the cold, hard certainty of a battle won. I reach for my phone. "You know, Victor," I say, my voice casual, "the funny thing about desperate people is that they talk, a lot." I slide my phone across the table towards him. I press play. Jake's voice fills the conference room, tinny and pathetic through the small speaker. "I didn't have a choice. You don't get it. I owed them, Maya. I owed the label." He was going to sue me, ruin me for good. He told me if I didn't deliver him a guaranteed hit, he'd end me. Silence. Absolute, damning silence. Jake's face has gone from pale to a ghastly shade of gray. His lawyer stares at him, his mouth agape. Victor's expression is unreadable, a mask of stone. He looks at Jake, then at me, then at the phone. Then, he does something I don't expect. He picks up the thick stack of papers in front of him, Jake's contract, the multi-million-dollar key to the kingdom. And with slow, deliberate movements, he begins to tear it in half, then into quarters, then into eighths. The sound of ripping paper is the only sound in the room, a brutal final verdict. He lets the pieces flutter onto the table like dead leaves. But I'm not done. While they were all listening, while Jake's world was collapsing, I'd been busy. My thumb had been working under the table. I'd opened my Instagram, hit the Go Live button, and propped my phone up just enough to capture the entire scene. I pick up my phone again and turn the screen so Victor can see it. The little red icon in the corner shows a viewer count that is climbing at a dizzying rate. 10,000, 20,000, 50,000. 50,000 people watching the drama unfold in real time. 50,000 people who had just watched the head of Apex Records tear up his new star's contract. I smile sweetly at Victor. You said you wanted to control the narrative, so did I. For the first time, I see a flicker of something new in Victor Reeves's eyes. It's not anger, it's not frustration, it's respect. A cold, hard, calculating respect. He looks at me, at the phone, at the shredded contract, and a slow grin spreads across his face. Kid, he says, his voice now a low, appreciative murmur. You've got nerve. He pushes a blank contract across the table toward me. My lawyer will draft a new one. Your name on it, triple what we offered him. The album, the tour, the whole machine is yours. I look at the contract, the culmination of everything I've ever worked for. It's right there. The victory is absolute. But it's not enough. Just winning isn't enough. I have to change the game. I push the contract back towards him. I want more. Victor raises an eyebrow. More? I want creative control, I say, my voice steady, my resolve absolute. And I want my own imprint, a boutique label under Apex. I want to find and sign other artists, the ones who've been screwed over, the ones who've had their music stolen, the ones the industry ignores. I want to build a roster of people who have stories to tell, real ones. Zoe's eyes widen beside me. Victor leans back in his chair, studying me, a master poker player analyzing his opponent. He's not just looking at a songwriter anymore. He's looking at a future executive, a future rival, a future ally. He extends a hand across the table. You drive a hard bargain, Cruz. I take his hand. His grip is firm, a seal of a new and dangerous alliance. I learned from the best, I say, glancing at Jake, who looks like he's about to be physically sick. As I sign the initial agreement, the live stream still running, I feel a sense of profound, earth-shattering justice. I didn't just get my song back. I got my power back. And I'm about to use it to start a revolution. The fallout is immediate and catastrophic for Jake. His team tries to spin it, releasing a statement about creative differences and mental exhaustion. But you can't spin a live stream watched by over 100,000 people. You can't spin the raw audio of a confession. The hashtag #GiveMayaHerSongBack morphes into #JakeMorrisonIsOverParty. His social media is a graveyard of snake emojis and broken heart comments. He deactivates his accounts within 24 hours. Apex Records, under Victor's shrewd guidance, leans into the narrative. They position me as a renegade talent, a truth teller in a corrupt industry. My story is everywhere. Rolling Stone, Billboard, the New York Times. I am the underdog who fought the system and won. Jake, desperate to salvage something from the wreckage, tries to release another single. It's Faded Photograph, the other track he stole from me. He probably thinks it's his last ace in the hole. But without the Apex marketing machine behind him, without the manufactured hype, the song is just there. It debuts at a pathetic 97 on the charts and vanishes within a week. It's a footnote, a forgotten whisper. The public has chosen its hero, and it wasn't him. 6 months later, my life is unrecognizable. My debut album, which I defiantly titled Stolen Thunder, goes platinum. The tour sells out. The title track, Midnight Confessions, is nominated for a Grammy. But the success, as sweet as it is, isn't the most satisfying part. The most satisfying part is my label. Maya's Revenge Music. That's what the press calls it. I call it Second Chance Records. My office, in a cool, renovated warehouse downtown, is the anti-Apex. There are no glass walls, no mahogany tables. It's filled with mismatched furniture, worn-out amps, and the sound of raw, unfiltered music. My first signing is a teenage girl from Ohio who had her viral TikTok sound stolen by a major pop star. My second is a folk singer from Nashville whose producer ex-boyfriend copyrighted their entire collaborative album under his name alone. My third is a rapper from the Bronx whose label has had him shelved for 3 years. They are my people. They are the ghosts, the footnotes, the ones who were told their stories didn't matter. And we are about to make a lot of noise. Victor Reeves has become an unlikely mentor. He calls me weekly, not to check up on me, but to pitch me. He sends me new artist development opportunities, seeing my imprint as his secret weapon, a way to tap into the authentic, underground talent his own AA Ander teams can no longer find. Our relationship is a strange mix of mutual respect and the unspoken understanding that we are both sharks, just swimming in different parts of the same ocean. And Jake? The last I heard, he was working part-time at a guitar center in the valley. His industry connections, once his greatest currency, have all been severed. No one will touch him. He is a pariah, a walking cautionary tale. He tried to call once, about a month after the showdown at Apex, a blocked number. He left a voicemail. I saw the notification, a single, desperate message from the man who was once my other half. I never listened to it. I just pressed delete. Some stories are better left unfinished. Some ghosts are better left in the past. My first life was over, and my second one was just getting started.